Sahanavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviriyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Smriti Puranam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakೃತೌ Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavadhyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Guharasvandakaro Vai Rukarastanivartakaha Andakara Nirodhitvad Guruvitya Vidhiyate. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Verse number 23. Oh, 22 rather. 22. Vigrahendriya pranadhitamah nahamekasat tajjalam yasat Maharshi here explains how to perform an inquiry into the nature of I, the nature of the self. Because that was said earlier. Idam aham padam ahamam kuto bhavati chinnata. Even contemplate or deliberate or inquire in this I am aham kuto bhavati. Where does this aham, the I notion, arise? What is the truth about the I notion? So, the inquiry into the reality was reduced to ultimately the inquiry into one's own self. Because question was, Manasantuke, what is the mind? When this question asked, it also means what is the universe? Because the universe is not apart from the mind. See, when you see a clock, what do I really see? I really see a clock thought. I can perceive the clock provided a thought of the form of clock takes place in my mind. The clock could be there. If a corresponding thought does not take place, then cognition does not take place. Sometimes things in front of me I don't see because my mind is elsewhere. So, you cannot say that the clock exists independent of the thought, because the presence of the clock could not be established unless there was a clock thought. Is it right? Presence of anything can be established provided there is a thought or cognition corresponding to that. So when I think that I am looking at a clock, In fact, I am looking at a clock thought. And therefore, what is my mind? Mind is a flow of thoughts. And a thought corresponds to an object. A clock thought, a tree thought, a man thought, woman thought, table thought, etc. So, corresponding to every thought, there is an object. What is the universe? Made of objects, names and forms. And what is my thought? Also a name and form corresponding to an object. That is called a thought which has a particular form in which we give a particular name. So an object having a name and form is not separate from a thought having name and form. So object is thought, universe is only thought of the mind, is it not so? Is there a universe separate from the mind? So when we are asking this question, what is this mind? In a way that question also includes what is the universe, meaning that by deliberating upon the reality of mind, we are also deliberating upon the reality of the universe, because the universe is not separate from the mind. Is that right? So what is the universe? The mind. What is the mind? Thoughts. What are the thoughts? Two kinds. Object thought, subject thought. What's the difference between them? The object thought is dependent, object thought is dependent upon the subject thought. So object thought arises from the subject thought, the I thought. And therefore, if mind means thoughts, and thoughts are two kinds, only one kind is dependent upon the other kind, so ultimately all the thoughts reduce to I thought. What is I thought? So then also inquiry was made, and that inquiry is further being made. What's I thought? Last night we were discussing I thought also there is a variable element and there is something that does not vary. Just as in a part also there is an aspect that changes and there is an aspect that does not change. A part has a name and form and that is subject to change. The part breaks down, the name and form change. But the clay remains the same. So clay is the non-changing aspect of the part, and name and form, which we call part, is the changing aspect. Of the two, the part depends upon clay, the clay does not depend upon the part. The changing depends upon the non-changing, not the other way around. Therefore, in the I thought also, there is a changing name and form, and there is a changeless content. What is the changing name and form? Now I thought is Karta, the doer, then Bhokta, the experiencer, now Sukhi, happy, then Dukhi, unhappy. Being the form and name of the I thought also keep on changing like the form and name of part. But that is possible only when that changing thing has an unchanging foundation, otherwise the changing thing cannot survive on its own. A changing name and form cannot exist on its own, it must have the changeless clay as the very basis. There was the Karta, Bhokta, doer, experiencer, happy and unhappy, all the different forms of I thought. Meaning that I thought also these names and forms keep on changing, that means there must be a changeless basis. Also, another interesting thing is, the changing is mithya, the changeless is satyam. In the example of the parts, the name and form which keep on changing, they enjoy a dependent reality. Whereas clay that does not change enjoys independent reality. In the thought example, correct? Therefore, in that example, the part or name and form which enjoy changing reality is mithya. That's what we say. Dependent reality is mithya. Clay which enjoys independent reality is satyam. So changing is mithya. Changeless is satyam. Changing is many. Changeless is one. And I thought also. Doer, enjoyer, happy, unhappy, good, bad, indifferent. All these are the names and forms of the I. Sometimes happy, sometimes I'm unhappy, sometimes I'm a doer, sometimes an experiencer. So the doer is a name and form, understand? Happy is a name and form because happy is a word which has a corresponding form. So this, in I also, there is a changing aspect which is name and form, which can be there provided there is an unchanging support, which doesn't have a name and form. The pot has a name and form, clay does not have a name and form. So doer, experiencer has name and form, they all depend upon a basis or a foundation or a substratum that does not have a name and form. Name and form is limitation. No name and form, no limitation. See, pot is the name and form, so it is confined to a form. Clay is not confined. Clay can be anywhere, any pot, any pan, anything. Similarly, karta, bhokta, doer, enjoyer, happy, unhappy, all of these are names and form limited. But that upon which they depend, the unchanging, must be free from name and form, free from limitation, limitless. So it is possible for us to give up the changing. Even if there is a part in front of us, it is possible for us to focus our attention on the clay, because even when you perceive the part, you could not perceive the part without the clay. Therefore, it is possible to focus the attention on clay. Recognize the clay that is real. Similarly also, when we are aware of that ego or I thought, happy, unhappy, doer, enjoyer, whatnot, the changing can be there only when the unchanging is. So while we are perceiving the changing, happy, unhappy, we also perceive or experience unchanging. What is that? I am happy, I am unhappy, I am doer, I am enjoyer. So just as it is possible for us to shift our focus from changing form and name of a pot to the clay, so also it should be possible for us to change the focus from changing form of I to the changeless. How do we shift the focus? By recognizing that the changing and name and form is unreal. Unreal means of no consequence. Unreal means of no consequence. Whether it's there or not there doesn't matter. You may say it matters because you cannot fill water in clay, and that kind of thing it may matter. But in terms of reality, whether changing or mithya is there or not doesn't matter. Therefore you can shift your attention. Similarly, in the I am happy, unhappy also. Happy, unhappy, doer, etc. They come and go. I am. So this is how I am ultimately turns out to be the reality of the whole universe. Because what is the universe? Mind. What is mind? Thoughts. What is thought? I thought. What is I thought? Parama Purna Sat. So now, the same thing is done here in the verse number 22 that we read. What am I and what am I not? So, we should develop that facility or capability of letting go that which is mithya. Once you recognize something as mithya, we should have the ability to let it go. What prevents us from letting go what is mithya? The attachment. No, everything is mithya, but my house is not mithya. Everything is mithya, but this is real, my body. So what I'm saying is, even after knowing something as mithya, it is our habitual attachment, meaning our mind has become so dependent upon those things for its security and well-being. So long it has looked upon them as source of happiness and security that it cannot let go. So that is where the raga, that is where the growth process comes of becoming free from attachment and aversions. Attachment and aversions are nothing but the manifestations of wrong thinking. At one point I thought that house was a source of happiness, therefore I was attached to that. At one point I thought that this gives me security, therefore. Now my intellect says, hey, that is not. So mind cannot change just like that. So mind has been seeing happiness, security, where the intellect guided it so far. Now intellect has listened to Vedanta and says, hey, this is all mixture. Give up. He cannot give up right away. There is a moment when a car is running at 85 miles an hour in a wrong direction. You can't just stop it and turn around. It takes its own time. That is why getting rid of raga-dveshas from the mind is a process. A slow process, which requires attitudes and values based on truth. So far I was living life based on attitudes and values that are all based on my false notions. So we turn around, so it requires living a life in a right way to become free from the impurities that we acquire by living a life in wrong way. So problems that are created by wrong living must be corrected by right living, not by thinking only. Problems created by wrong thinking are corrected by right thinking, and problems created by wrong living are to be corrected by right living. Therefore, doing also is important. Doing what is right is very important. Karma Yoga becomes very important. That's by the way. But then, so here Ramana Maharshi guides us into understanding what I am not, living what I am. Vigraha, Indriya, Prana, Dhi, Tamaha. I am not. Naham, no aham. First says what I am not. It's very simple. I am the subject, and subject is different from the object. The clock is object of my perception. I am the perceiver. The subject is always different from the object or what is perceived. Isn't that right? The subject or knower is always different from what is known. Isn't it? I, who is the perceiver of a part, is different from the part. The other way around is not true. That will come to that. Remember what I say that the knower is different from known. I did not say known is different from knower. That you must note. What we did not say. You say, I am different from them. I didn't say they are different from I. We will come to that. That is also a very important part of the equation. It's an equation having two parts. One part is, I am not them. Second part is, they are not different from me. I am different from them. One part of the equation. They are not different from me. Second part of the equation. Very important. Then non-duality comes. I am different from them. then I realize the self. The second part, they are not different from I, establishes non-divine. So here first, what I am not. So whatever I can objectify, I am not. I am the subject, and what I objectify is object. Subject is always different from the object. So now various reasons are given. Vigraha, what is Vigraha? The body is called Vigraha. This body is called Vigraha. Usually the Murti is called Vigraha, the image. Like Lord Krishna, etc. Because made of different limbs. So what is made of different limbs and organs is called Vigraha. This body is made of different limbs and organs, that is called Vigraha. This body in this case. So Ramana Maharaj uses the word Vigraha instead of Sharira or Deha. It could also say Sharira, Indriya, Prana, but instead of Sharira, the word Vigraha is used. So we clearly understand this form made up of various limbs and organs. It is an assembly of various limbs and organs. One rule is that an assembly always serves the purpose of someone else. An assembly presupposes that somebody has assembled it. The different components of an assembly cannot assemble themselves. If this is a room which is an assembly of walls and ceiling and beams and columns, etc., then the walls and ceilings could not assemble themselves as a room. There must be someone other than these fellows, walls and who must have assembled, isn't it? Number one. Number two, what is assembled is all lifeless, inert, insentient. The one who assembles must be a sentient entity. Again, this assembly is not for no reason. It is there to serve the purpose of someone else. The hall has no purpose of its own. The hall has the purpose to serve for the one who has created the hall. Is that right? What is hall? An assembly. What's an assembly? That which is created by assembling a number of components. Where all components are insentient. So they must be assembled by somebody who is not a component, because meaning it cannot be that a wall assembles the hall, Or a column, the one who assembles must be different from the assembly. Must be a sentient being, must be an intelligent conscious being. For whose purpose the hall is? The hall serves the purpose of the fellow who has made it. So what is his body? Is an assembly made up of different organs and limbs. So there was someone else who must have assembled this body. And just as the hall serves the purpose of someone else, this body also should serve the purpose of someone else. What is assembled is always insentient and is assembled by a sentient or conscious being. Therefore, this Vigraha, this body, assembly is insentient by nature and meant to serve the purpose of a conscious being, a conscious self. So itself proves that this is an Atma. The thing is, the fact that it is an assembly, there are various ways of establishing an Atma anyway. That is not done here. It is a very simple rule is applied that whatever is object is not subject. Subject is always different from object. Atma, the self, is subject. And whatever is objectified is different from that. So body is an object of my knowledge. Everybody knows that. I am conscious of my body. Conscious of my hands, legs, head, etc. And then sometimes I display the wisdom also that I am not the body. More often than not, I take the body as myself. Swami, where are you sitting? On the chair. That means the body. When I say I am sitting on the chair, meaning that I am identified with the body. So usually I identify with the body. But there are times when I say, go to the doctor, what has happened to my stomach? Some problem with my shoulder. So my shoulder, my stomach, my head. When I thus have this kind of usage of mind, then one thing is certain, that what is mine, that is not I. When I say my book, it is very clear I am not the book, I am the possessor of the book. So very often I do say my hand, my legs, my body, which establishes that in a way I know, somewhere I know that I am not the body, I am the possessor of the body, different from the body. There's another way of looking at this. But here, the body is the object of my perception. I am the perceiver. And perceiver is different from what is perceived. So vigraha. Indriya means what? Sense organ. And we have two kinds of sense organs. Sense organs of perception and sense organs of action. We have 5 organs of perception for perceiving 5-fold objects of the world. So world has 5-fold objects: sound, touch, color, taste, smell. That's what the world consists of. And we have 5 organs of perception to perceive these 5 elements or 5 objects. Organ of hearing, organ of touch, organ of sight, smell, taste. But they are all the instruments. Again, we have got 5 organs of action. So with the organs of perception, I receive the stimuli from the world. With the organs of action, I respond. So what is called my interaction is, the world does something to me, I respond. World gives me some stimuli, I respond. For responding, we have 5 organs of action: speech, hands, legs, genital organ, organ of excretion. These are called the 5 organs of action. So Ramana Maharshi says, this Indriya, am I these organs? Am I organs of perception? Am I organs of action? Am I not aware of my eyes, seeing, hearing, thinking? Oh Swami, these days I don't see well. So what did you say? I'm a little hard of hearing these days. How do I know that I don't see well? I'm hard of hearing when I know the condition of the sense organs. Andyam manya patutvam cha Vivek Chodamani says. Or Dhruktish Viveka says, Andyam manyam patutvam cha. Sometimes sense organs do not work at all. It is called andyam, blindness. Sometimes they see general but not particular. It's called mandyam, dullness. And now sometimes they see particular. It's called sharpness. Meaning there are different states of every sense organ: sharpness, dullness, and blindness. When ears hear everything in particular, sharp. Ear hears something general but not particular, dull. The ears do not hear at all anything, blind. The point is that I am aware of these different states of sense organs. Am I or am I not? Though I would not wear hearing aid if I did not know that my ears were not able to hear. Meaning that I am aware of the condition of the sense organs. Meaning I am aware of the sense organs. Never sense organs I am not. Prana. Prana means vital air. Prana can mean breath, but it can mean vital air. So scriptures talk about the five prana is the physiological functions in our body. They identify five main physiological functions and give them names: prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Prana, the respiratory system. Apana, the excretion system. Vyana, the circulatory system. Udana, the ejecting system. Samana, the digestive system. Five main systems. There are five upapranas, and then also other aspects, other physiological aspects, minor physiological aspects are also recognized. So what is prana? Vital air, which is responsible for the various physiological functions in the body. But that also I am not, because I am aware of them also. I am aware of my breathing, aware of all this I am aware of. So prana also can be objectified, body can be objectified, sense organs can be objectified, prana can be objectified, is that right? Sometimes prana is thought to be atma. The self is departed. What is departed is prana. When the prana leaves this body, the body dies. So what do people say? Atma is left. Atma doesn't leave, there is no place to go. Where will it go, poor fellow? You can go someplace where you are not. You can't go where you already are. Atma is consciousness, all pervasive, cannot go and cannot come. It presides over all going and coming. Itself doesn't go, doesn't come. So prana goes, subtle body goes. Sometimes they think that is Atma. But now, as we explain, what is death? Is departure of this life from the gross body. We call it departure of subtle body from the gross body. So Indriya, Prana and Dhi. What is Dhi? Dhi means Buddhi. Here that Buddhi stands for Antahkarana. The mind, what we call mind in English, which has different kinds of thoughts. So Vedanta, different thoughts are categorized in four categories. We categorize in two categories: subject thought, object thought. The object thought can be further divided. What is mana, buddhi, then what? Chittam and ahankara. Mana, buddhi, chittam, ahankara. There are four kinds of thoughts. What is mana? The reacting faculty, emotional faculty, doubting faculty. What is buddhi? The thinking faculty, knowing faculty, inquiring faculty. What is chitta? Recalling faculty, remembering faculty. What is ahankara? The I thought. Ahankara. So all of these four are different thoughts of the mind. All of them are included in the word dhi, meaning all these thoughts I am not. I am aware of my emotions. Manas is what? Emotions. Impulses as well as good emotions, meaning kindness, compassion, or anger, greed, all of them I am aware of. I am aware of my thoughts, aware of my knowledge, aware of my memory, even aware of my ahankara. Therefore, dhi, meaning antahkaranam, meaning the mind, I am not. Tamaha, tamas means darkness, or here it means ignorance. Ignorance also I am not. So, what is the state when ignorance prevails? When does ignorance prevail completely? Even when nobody else, nothing else is there, ignorance is there. What is that state? Deep sleep state. When you are fast asleep, that time there is no awareness of body, right? When you're fast asleep, you don't know whether you are sleeping in this retreat or sleeping in some place or at home. You don't know. There's no awareness of time, no awareness of place. Thank God for that. Because all that awareness creates stresses. Deep sleep, no awareness of the body, no awareness of the mind, no awareness of intellect, no awareness of prana, no awareness at all. What is that? Nothing but ignorance. So deep sleep state is characterized by predominance of ignorance. So in the waking state there is predominance of gross body. The dream state there is predominance of subtle body. In deep sleep state, predominance of causal body or ignorance. So Vigraha means gross body, I am not. Then Indriya, Prana and Dhi, all of them make up subtle body, that I am not. And Tama makes up the causal body, that also I am not. Vigraha, Indriya, Prana, Dhi, Tama, Naham, I am not them. Sir, how do you say you are not them? And why do you have to say I am not them? The reason, why do you have to say I am not the body? There is some problem in the body. Notice I am not the mind. Have they committed some kind of a crime? Poor fellows, that is, I am not body, I am not mind. Why do you have to say that? Why do you have to know that? What fault they have committed? Body is a great gift. They do a lot of things for me. Why do I say I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not sense organs, I am not prana? Why? Because I am born with calling them as I. Meaning that from the birth, habitually I identify with all of this. Never, without being told or taught, I take the body to be I. I take the mind to be I. I take sense organs to be I. I take all these aspects of my person or costume as I. Like that actor who may get identified with his costume and think he is a beggar. So this Vigraha, Indriya, Dhi, Prana, Dhi, Tama. The body, sense organs, vital air, mind, ignorance, what is all of this? All of these are in the place of costume. So the way in the morning we say, the Lord said in the beginning, may I become many. Meaning that, may I appear as many. How? He created these countless costumes. And just as an actor enters the costume and acts as a beggar, so also the Lord entered all the costumes. In case of actor, you must have as many actors as many costumes are. Here one actor is enough to enter all the costumes. That's the only difference. Because after all, he is Bhagavan, he is God. He can do what we cannot do. He can enter only one costume at a time. But he enters all the costumes simultaneously. How many costumes? Countless. Not only human beings, every living being, including mosquito. Same God has entered every costume. May I be many. Does he create all the variety of costumes enter there? What does the costume consist of? Body, sense organs, prana, mind, ignorance. Everybody has costume. A mosquito also has this. Mosquito also has body, also has sense organs, also has prana, also has thoughts, whatever kind of thing. Mind, some mind is there. Mosquito also knows where to land. As the Swami used to say always that look, mosquito doesn't come and land on your hand. Right away, he just goes at the back. But you cannot reach. So some mind he must have. If, for example, everybody is very intelligent that everybody makes their home also in a safe place. So, everybody, some kind of intelligence everybody has. So, Vigra, Indriya, everybody has all this costume. It is just creativity that every costume is different. He doesn't manufacture, mass produce. He has that creativity where every costume is unique. Never was this costume created in the past. No such costume exists in the present. Never will such a costume come in future. Can you tell me? That means creating one costume, he must know what all costumes he had created in the past, what all costumes exist right now of 7 billion people, and what all costumes will come in future for all the time to come. Is it not so? Otherwise, you can't display on Facebook. I can't display my pictures if everybody else has them. Nobody has them. I know it. So Facebook can, look at me. That shows omniscience. Every costume shows the knowledge of all the three periods of time, past, present, and future. Is it not so? So he is omniscient. So he can creates countless unique costumes. That is his pleasure. His pleasure to enter every costume also. Tat sruštva tadevanuprāvishada. Having created them, he entered them. Like an actor enters a costume to play a certain role. Then some problem happened. When it happened, I don't know. They don't tell us. Some problem happened at some point in time where, having entered the costume, he seems to have forgotten his own nature and identified with the costume. That's called ignorance. Ignorance causes identification. What is ignorance? It weighs the true nature of myself and creates the false notion of what I am not. So who is talking right now? Ishvara is talking, Brahman is talking, and who is listening? Same Brahman is listening. It's unbelievable, but that's what it is. Absent that limitless Brahman alone thinks that I am a helpless creature. On account of identifying this costume, which is helpless and hapless, of course. What is the costume? It's just insignificant entity in the whole universe. So all the time think I'm insignificant. I'm struggling to become significant. Changing hairstyle and changing this style and that style and dressing, all kinds of stuff. Significant, visible. A waste of time, an exhaustion of energy. This is human being, poor fellow. This is ignorance best. Samsara. However, you keep doing it. I'm not suggesting you don't do that. All I'm saying is this is what it is. Understand what we are doing and why we are doing. You can do what you want to do. As long as you know what we can get out of it, that's all. But I also have hairstyle, so I can't blame anybody else's hairstyle also. I also have a specific kind of clothes, so I can't blame others. But at some point in time, I don't know. Having entered the costume, he has though lost his identity, he identified the costume, and so just as an actor says, I'm a beggar, this Paramatma Bhagavan says, I'm a jiva. Meaning that, what is the difference between jiva and Ishvara or jiva and Brahman? We will come to that later, but same Brahman is called Jivatma when Brahman identifies with his costume. And then he feels limited. And then tries to become limitless. So all he needs to do is to simply own up his status by de-identifying with the costume. That's all we have to do. On account of identifying with the body, mind, sense organs, etc., I have concluded I am limited helpless creature. All we need to do is de-identify. That's costume. I love the costume. That's what Ramamaj is. Now I'm not this. What is the costume? Vigraha, Indriya, Prana, Dhi, Tama. I mean, all of these different layers or aspects of the costume are stated here to make it clear for us and simpler for us. Either you can negate the whole thing in one stretch, or you can just one by one, part by part you negate, to make it easy. So it is not that the body, mind have committed any fault. It's my fault that I'm identified with them, that I take them to be I. Therefore, I have to now withdraw that I-ness from there. That's all. That is why I say I am not there. Meaning that my relationship has to change. What is my relation right now? They are I. Then it's a different thing. And I am not them. Then it's a different thing. Costume is costume. My attitude is one. Is I, the attitude is different. Is it not so? Don't touch me. I'm not touching. I'm touching this body. Don't touch me. That means the body. Don't talk to me like that. So all of this reveals what? I is the costume. So these two are in Vedanta. There is Samanadhikaranam. You know what is Samanadhikaranam? Placing them in the same adhikaranam, in the same location. These two belong in different locations. The actor is Satyam, costume is Mithya, one is subject, one is object. They are in different locations. When the actor says, I am a beggar, and I am and beggar, both of them are placed in the same status. Beggar is given the same status as I. Meaning that they are placed in the same location, same adhikaranam, samadhikaranam. That's what I am doing. I am happy. Meaning what? The mind is placed in the same status as I am. I am fat. Meaning the body is placed in the same reality status as I am. The moment I join them, I am fat. Meaning fat is as real as I am. And they're as important as I am. So that is where the separation comes. Not any physical separation. Has to come only where? Because they are separate always. It's our mind that they have lumped them together. You see, the body and I are never one. They are never joined, they are never united, they have no relationship. It is in my mind that I have equated them. So in my mind, I have to remove that equation. So body is no problem. I have body also no problem. I am the body the problem. Mind is not a problem. Nothing is a problem. I am the mind. The moment I is joined with something, that thing becomes a problem to me. If I don't join I, no problem. Britain has quit, European Union. What? I'm not Britain, I'm not European Union, I'm nothing to do with, so it doesn't matter to me. If I was a British citizen now, a part of Europe or something, then I may have some mistakes there, and then I may have some reaction. So when I is not joined, anything can happen. When I is joined, a little thing will make a lot of difference. It's a huge thing. Britain leaving European Union is a huge thing. Doesn't affect me at all. Whereas a little pebble hurts my little finger, now that's the big thing for me because the eye is involved there. Anything becomes a problem only when I is not. So body has become problem. Not because of body, because I is joined, I am the body. That's the problem. Inasmuch as sense of limitedness is a result of identification with this body, mind, sense complex, therefore we have to now de-identified. Identification also is in the mind, and therefore de-identification also is in mind. Where the ignorance is, there the knowledge should take place. So I am not this. I am not all that. Why do you say that, Ramana Maharshi? When you say something, there was a reason behind that. You can't just declare it as, so that's what you're saying. I don't think so. But when he says something for a reason, then we have to accept it. What's the reason? Aham eka sat, says the second line. Aham, I am eka, I am one. Sat means I am real. The I is one and I is real. Okay? And what are these fellows? Tat jadam yasat. Tat, all this assembly. Understand that not only body is assembly, but the whole personality made up of the body, sense organs, prana, mind, all of this assembly, all these components, that shows that it is meant for some other purpose. The assembly or personality or costume I am not. Why? Because Tat jadam. This is I am Sat. I am real. They are Asat. I am Chit. I am consciousness. They are Jada, inert. Meaning that this I and non-I have altogether contrary characteristics. Therefore they cannot be one. They have nothing in common. These two entities have nothing in common. I am Sat, that is Asat. I am Chit, that is Jadam. I am one, that is many. I am self, that is non-self. Nothing in common. And therefore I am not them. So Ramana Maharshi said, Aham eka sat. So Aham ekam. I am one, they are many. He said many and changing are unreal. What is one does not change is real. Second thing, the jadam. The assembly is jadam. You see what jadam is generally translated as inert. Jada and Chetana, these are words in Sanskrit. Jada means insentient, Chetana means sentient. But table is called jadam because it is lifeless. Body is called Chetanam, sentient, because it has life. But the Vedantic jadam has, it's a technical word, has a different meaning. Jadam and Chetanam. What is Chetanam? Chetanam means that which is self-effulgent. Which is self-effulgent and illumines everything else is called Chetanam. And that which does not illumine itself and which requires something else to illumine is called Jada. Jada is paraprakashyam. So that which is illumined by something else is called Jadam, and that which illumines itself is called Chetanam. You know why I am saying? Because in all regional languages these words are used. Those who don't know English, Indian language have no problem. But the people who know regional language, this word Jada, Chetana, all of these are commonly used in all regional languages of India. And all of them carry a certain meaning to them. Therefore, the need to understand that the meaning of these words here is different from what we normally understand in our day-to-day usage. As far as those who have no idea of Indian language, no problem. Jada means paraprakashyam, that which is illumined, that is not self-effulgent and that requires something else to illuminate. Chetanam, that which is self-effulgent, does not require anything else to illuminate. Everything else requires to be illuminated. You know what is illumination, for example? You are listening to these words, right? When can you listen to these words? When your organ of hearing illumines these words. Our sense organs illumine the respective sense objects. The eyes illumine the colors. The ears illumine the sound. The skin illumines the touch. The palate illumines the taste. The nose illumines the smell. Either you can say that the ears hear the sound, or you can say that ears illumine the sound. The presence of the sound is known only when the organ of hearing illumines the sound. Sound may be there, but if not illumined, it will not be known. Sound can be there, but if our organ of hearing does not illumine, you see, for example, in the morning meditation, the guided meditation, then we buy those tapes also, meditation tapes, and then we carry out that meditation in our own room. Most amazing thing is we hear so many sounds, the birds chirping. When I was in that room, I did not hear anything. I only heard Swami's voice. But when you hear the tape, birds chirping, the tape picks up everything. My ear picks up what? Only selected sounds. I don't hear them. Whereas this tape recorder or whatever recorder is, voice recorder, picks up every sound. So when you listen to the tape or the CD or the guided meditation, all kinds of sounds are heard there. What does it mean? It means that for the sound to establish its existence, it must be illumined by a corresponding sense organ. For the clock to establish its existence, when can we say the clock is? When can we say the flower is? When can you say the flower is? Do I have a flower in my hand? Do I have a flower in my hand? No. Do I have a flower in my hand? Yes. Why do you say I have a flower in my hand? Because you see it. Meaning that the flower cannot establish its existence unless you see it. Flower can be there. But if your sense organ, in this case eyes, if it does not contact the flower, then the flower is not known. If the flower is not known, then the existence of flower also cannot be established. Does it make sense? You know, ultimately in the court, what is the final evidence? The witness is the final evidence. The witness of the crime. It is witness that establishes the existence of. Otherwise, always arguing, this fellow arguing, that fellow arguing, God alone knows what the result is. But if you bring out a witness, that's the final proof. Meaning that something is there, can be established only when it is known, otherwise not. That clock is there, can be established only when the clock becomes the object of my awareness. The flower is there, can be established only when flower becomes the object of my knowledge or awareness. Meaning that flower does not have the freedom to declare its existence. Flower requires to be known in order to declare its existence. You understand that? The flower cannot reveal its existence unless it becomes an object of knowledge. Unless it is seen in this case, or touched, or smelled, or tasted, or whatever organ. That an object is, can be established only when the object is known, not otherwise. Isn't it so? Otherwise, you don't know everything in the earth and everything, but you can't, because you have to go down the earth to see whether something, some minerals are there, water is there, this is there, that is there. Only when you perceive the object, then alone its existence is established. Nowadays you perceive them through satellites and all kinds of, cameras, cameras, or all kinds of what? Waves or whatever kind of instruments they have to sense. But then that thing is there for 1,000 years. Now only I come to know it is there. Because it is known. Something is there can be established only when it becomes an object of knowledge. And this is a very big thing. Meaning that this flower can declare its existence only when the flower is known through a pramanam or through a means of knowledge. In this case, eyes are the means of knowledge. Only when the eyes illumine the flower, then flower is, that fact can be established. Our flower can be there, is not known, it is there as good as not there. Isn't it? Flower can be there, but it is not known, it is as good as not there. So many things we keep on coming to know, oh, there is some new satellite they have found out, or some new planet they have found out. New graha planets are always there. Now that you know this new planet, because the planet has become known to us. So everything in the universe, anything or everything in the universe can reveal its existence only when it is known through a means of knowledge. So Vedantin will say that when the flower is illumined by the eyes, then the flower is known. If some of you may have heard or listened to this stotra called Dakshinamurti stotra. In that a very beautiful imagery is given. Imagine that there is a dark room in which you place a jar with closed, mouth is closed. In that jar you have a very powerful lamp. But jar and mouth is closed, so lamp cannot do anything to the room is dark, lamp cannot illuminate anything because its light is not coming out. Now you drill some holes in that jar. Then the rays of that light will emerge through those apertures and illumine whatever falls in its path, right? Imagine a dark room here, in which a jar is there, in which a lamp is placed, a powerful lamp. But even that powerful lamp also can illumine something provided its rays can emerge. Similarly, this body is a jar, like a jar. Organs of perception are like those apertures. The self is like that powerful lamp. But it can illumine something provided the rays emerge from these apertures and illumine corresponding objects. Nana chidra gatodara sthitamaha deepa prabhavaswaram jnanam yastil chakshurari karana dvara bhahispandade janamiti. So Lord Dakshinamurti was self consciousness. You are like a lamp placed in a jar, and the lamp can illumine something in the dark room only when it has its rays can emerge from the apertures, and that lamp, the rays illumine the objects. So consciousness is that lamp. But consciousness also can illumine the objects provided its rays emerge from the apertures of the eyes or ears, etc. and they illumine the corresponding objects. So really what illumines a flower is consciousness. Consciousness manifesting through the eyes illumines the flower. Consciousness manifesting through the organ of hearing illumines the sound. Consciousness manifesting through the organ of palate illumines the taste. Organ of smell illumines the smells. Organ of touch illumines touch. Who illumines? it is consciousness. Through this aperture of sense organs, illumines the corresponding objects. What is world? Objects. Who illumines? Consciousness. Through what? Through the different organs of perception. So world is, the poor world is no freedom to declare that it is unless it is illumined by the consciousness through the sense organs. Isn't that so? For a blind person, the light is elsewhere not there. Because all colors are not there for a blind person, as best as I know, because they are not illumined. So what illumines is called Chetanam. What is illumined is called Jadam. Jadam means inert, which cannot illumine itself, which requires something else to illumine, and that's called Chetanam, or conscious, which illumines itself and illumines everything else. Thus there are two categories of entities here. One entity is that which illumines itself and illumines everything else. And everything else is what? Cannot illumine itself and requires something else to illumine. Chetana and Jada. That Jadam, the body, sense organs, mind, all of these what? Jadam. Inert, Paraprakasham, cannot illuminate itself. Who am I? I am Chit. I am the consciousness, self-indulgent, illuminate everything else. Illuminated is different from what is illuminated. Therefore, I am different from it. Okay, we'll continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.